G'day guys, how's life living in a jungle? I'm the Aussie Rana. And today, like usual, there's lots going on in the world of politics. Oh yes there is. Donald Trump says to our Prime Minister that he doesn't like the idea, but he's going to look at the idea, but the media have picked it up and gone, oh my god, Donald Trump blasts Malcolm Turnbull. We hate Trump, but we love the fact he blasted Turnbull. Cognitive dissonance, anybody? I want 3 servings with a bloody whole heaping of fucking irony. Seriously? It's good that Trump lambasted Turnbull, but we don't like Trump. In fact, we hate everything he does, but he's allowed to lambast our leader. You see, there's this problem, I know, societally and intellectually that we Australians have, and it's called little man syndrome. Many people won't like the fact that I've said that. I don't give a shit. We've always felt like we should be bigger on the world stage. We're a country of 24 million people. A majority of our landmass is unlivable. It's inhospitable to life. At least life that, we have in the Western world, like agriculture and shit. You can't live there. Or if you live there, it's quite difficult. For example, Cooper Pedy, where everybody lives underground. Now, why do we keep comparing ourselves to America? Why do we think we're fucking Americans? Why? What's this bullshit? Why do we even care what Trump does? Who cares? Who cares? Seriously. Maybe this all started back in the 90s, with the whole late 80s, early 90s period. And I remember it well because I was young growing up and there was all the sitcoms, American sitcoms, and you'd be watching things like Family Values and Family Ties, Full House, Alf, and God knows what else from America. And then came the movies in the late 80s and early 90s, Bill and Ted's and your Wayne's Worlds and all those movies all the way through the 90s. Everything was American. And the music was all American too. Now, I'm one of those people, I just like the music. I don't really give a shit about the message, or at least I learn about the people that the message is from. For example, hip-hop, gangster rap, all that sort of shit. Now, I was right into that when I was younger, sort of the Ice-T, Ice Cube, NWA, later Body Count, that sort of thing. The original gangster rap. And I instantly understood, listening to that music, that we don't go around with MAC-10s shooting each other up. We certainly ain't going out and pimping bitches. This just doesn't happen in this country. Well, if it does happen, it certainly isn't the majority of the cases in the, roughly or loosely termed the Australian ghettos, which are just as full of white people as they are, poor white people, as they are full of poor anybody else. Yet we find that we somehow think we're America. We're not America. We're Australia. Our societal issues are nowhere near as complex or as troubling as America. And this whole idea that seems to have been brought on board, that there's a conflation between the African American population and what they went through and the Aboriginal people, is absolutely ludicrous. Nonsense. Bullshit. If you want a comparison, you'd probably be looking at the Native American Indian or the First Nation Americans, and you know what? They've done well for themselves. They got their land back. Well, that's analogous. They were slaves for quite some time. There was a war against them. All these things are analogous. Okay? And yet, most Native American Indians work hard. They've got they've got their own farms, or they've turned their land that they've been given back into big casinos, and they're doing all right for themselves. Now, is there poor ones? Of course, there's poor people in every single group or race. Ethnically biological race. Hashtag not the fuck all. So, there's no comparison between the Australian Aborigine and the American African American, but the music, the gangster rap, makes these kids think that that's true. It's the way of life for black people. Not for native people, not like for like, but for people who were introduced as slaves to a nation from another nation, as the African Americans were. There's no comparison in their story. No comparison. There's lots of comparison, though, between the Native American Indian and the Native Australian Aborigine. But still, we go on, and then we go, oh, Donald Trump's doing all these horrible things. Does it affect us? No. Does it affect our foreign policy? Not really. A little bit here and there. Does it affect our fiscal policies? Not really. Does it affect our social policies? Not at all. Why do these people keep thinking that Donald Trump somehow, by standing in solidarity where the problem is, apparently, in America, is somehow going to, you think the Americans give a shit about Australia? Most of them don't even know where Perth is. Or Adelaide. What's an Adelaide? What's a fucking Hobart? They might know Sydney, they might know Melbourne. But a lot of the ones I've talked to have no idea where anything is unless they've actually been here. And even then, that's questionable. It's sort of like my geography with America. I'm terrible with American geography. I've got no fucking idea what I'm talking about. And you can tell. Why? I don't care. I'm an Australian. Does that make me ignorant? Well, maybe. So what? I know enough about their societal history that I can just sort of go, well, I don't know where this state is, but I understand it's in the Rust Belt. I know enough of their capital cities that most Americans don't give a shit. Why should they? So by you standing in solidarity with them over their social issue, it means nothing to them. All you're doing is disrupting here. Why don't you fucking concentrate on Australian social issues? I'll give you one, for example, that really needs to be thought about. The Aboriginals, we gave the Australian government, not we, the Australian government, gave them back all their land. But a lot of it can't be used for anything other than tribal purposes, which means they've got all this land that they can't use. So that's why they sit around doing fuck all, drinking piss all day. They can't do anything with the land they've got. What's the point of giving someone land if they can't use it? And the second problem I have with that is if you're a miner and you put a lease on that land, you instantly get that lease. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. You work out how much that land is worth between you and the Aboriginal people and the government. That's unfair. You can't give someone a land and then say, oh, you've got no due process to try to fight this in a court, you just have to give it over. Fuck that. Shit. So there are two of the problems that I see that need to be somewhat addressed. Well, not somewhat, they do need to be addressed as far as Aboriginal folk go, living in these their land entitlements. But let's focus on us. Let's do a Trump here and focus a little bit more on our democracy. I mean, whilst we're all focusing on Donald Trump and America, we're not looking at what our politicians are doing back home. We're not looking at what our media is doing back home. We're not actually doing what should be done, which is really look at ourselves. Instead of worrying about the log in America's eye, if you even consider it a log, why don't we look at the speck in our own? There's a lot to be said for that. We've got to stop being this small-minded, small man mentality nation. Oh, we're as good as everybody else. We're not. 24 million people. We're fuck all in the scheme of the world. I mean, one of our nearest neighbours, Indonesia, man. 70, 80 million people. Tiny little island compared to anything we've got here in Australia. And we think we've got problems? Most of our problems are really small because we've got a fucking tiny population. So it's time to get rid of this little man syndrome. It's time to grow up a bit, realise that our place in the world is not as good as we think it is as far as international relations go. A. B. Start concentrating on what we need to do, focusing on getting ourselves right, and then, if that ever occurs, which it won't because humans are always going to have some issue one or another, and then maybe think about the rest of the world. Does that mean I'm advocating we stop giving money to other countries that need it, like East Timor? No. We should still be supporting these people, but we need to start looking at ourselves. What do we need to fix? What do we need to correct? What's wrong with our trajectory? Because I'll tell you what, our trajectory right now is heading straight down the gullet of communism. It really is. The nanny state, our government bureaucracy is insanely huge. I just want you to go to Parliament pages and actually look at how big of a mess and how many different organisations are in each bureaucracy, and you tell me that every single one of those is necessary to run this country. You can't. The government's too big. We need to start scaling that back down a little bit, and we need to start actually making a government that works for us, not we work for them. On the Aussie Rana. Fuck you, get fucked the fuck off. Alright. G'day guys, it's the Rantin' Aussie. Hey, did you like this video? Comment down below. Like the video, share, and most importantly, subscribe. I'll catch you later.